Hey, bonsoir. This is Chuck, and this is the Sounds of Cannons website. I've been reading a lot of different things today, and I'm going to make a little video here, sort of sum it all up. Did no one notice that he built a huge freshwater pipeline to the Benghazi region? That lunatic. Were they waiting for him to finish? Seems like it. Now, in 1996, the Great Man-Made River Project had reached one of its final stages. This is the first stage. Now, in 2011, it's over two-thirds of the way done, okay? The gushing forth of sweet, unpolluted water to the homes and gardens of the citizens of Libya's capital, Tripoli. Louis Farrakhan, who took part in the opening ceremony of this important stage of the project, described the Great Man-Made River as another miracle in the desert. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Gaddafi said the project was the biggest answer to America, who accuses us of being concerned with terrorism. The goal of this project is to make Libya a source of agricultural abundance, capable of producing adequate food and water to supply its own needs and share with neighboring countries. In short, the river is literally Libya's meal ticket to self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency? Absolutely not. Not allowed. Bankers do not like that sort of thing one bit. How true is that? One little more sentence here. After this achievement, American threats against Libya will double, says Gaddafi. The United States will make excuses, but the real reason is to stop this achievement, to keep the people of Libya oppressed, and the people of North Africa, and the people of the Middle East, because this would have benefited all those people. Gaddafi presented the project to the cheering crowd as a gift to the Third World. Okay, this is a good read. Sound of Cannons. Remember the when they took the workers out of Libya, they had 135,000 Chinese workers that were working on this project. Now, this is from the Tripoli Post. Libya seeks world intervention to prevent environmental disaster. They're saying if one of these big old pipes get hit with a bomb, it could not only flood, because there's not really a turnoff valve for these huge pipes, but they're also crisscrossed with oil and natural gas pipelines that could also, if something happened, the three could intermingle and it'd really be a disaster for the environment. And said the bombing could cause environmental and humanitarian disaster that will affect 4.5 Libyans, could affect the production of cereals, fodder, and water holes for livestock. They already have the farms going over here. They're already producing. You know, this they were just a year, maybe 6 months from just greening the desert. I mean, they were right there at the cusp. You know, everything's in place, but thank God they haven't hit the piping system yet. And we still don't know what's going on over there in Libya. This could go on for ages, and what's going to happen? All this agriculture and all this food production is just going to go down the drain. They're going to owe tons of money to the World Bank for these wars and all the stuff that's going to happen. You know, this has all been, thought out and planned out. This is just crap. Now, I want to get to some Israel news here. I'm going to start with the Leviathan oil rig off the coast of Israel in disputed waters here, about 80 miles off the coast here, I think it said, 80 to 130. But this is where the two Leviathan oil rigs are. Massive amounts of natural gas, lots of oil. They're not telling you how much oil, but a lot. And Cyprus is claiming ownership, northern Cyprus, which is owned by Turkey, Lebanon, and the Palestinians. Now this is going to be, I think this is going to have a lot to do with the prospects of wars and things that could be, happen at the drop of a dime. And Lebanon has already warned Israel not to drill within their maritime borders, and they threatened the use of force. And Israel is demarcating their maritime borders with Cyprus. They're just, Israel's just claiming the water. And at the same time, the Arab coalition is calling for a no-fly zone over Israel, and they're throwing all kinds of bombs and stuff back and forth. A lot of unrest in Iraq right now. And that's what I wanted to point out here. Iraqi tries to soothe anger as the Mideast unrest grows. The Iraqis want the Americans out. Basically what's happening is Iran's coming in with their folks, and actually there was a big the Iraqi army bombed some camp with some Iranians in it and killed a bunch of people and slaughtered them. Whole thing going on over there. We have to watch this because they want the Americans out, which I say is a good thing, but then they're just going to be a puppet of Iran. You know, we spent $1 billion just to screw that whole thing up. Falling wages and unemployment, March 6, 2011. And I wanted to read this because it said, while the biggest losses were higher wage-paying jobs, the average, the lower wage-paying jobs from $9 to $12 really created the jobs in those areas. Employers have demanded wage and benefit concessions from the unionized workers and often got them. Detroit is creating auto jobs again, but new hires are getting about half the pay of the other auto workers. Airlines, the same thing, on and on with construction and everything else. I think I brought this up because long-term unemployment, they're just dropping people off the rolls, and they're scaling back the labor force now to 1984 levels, and it's not getting better out there with the job situation. Wages are going down, and if you're lucky to get a full-time job. One more here. I had the Guardian. Japan, in a year, Japan may be booming while the world pays for the quake. Well, what happened is Japan is going to have to come up with some money to pay off a lot of these debts created by this tsunami to rebuild Japan. And of course, they're talking about selling U.S. bonds, which they will. And once the bonds start dropping on the market, you guys, we're going to have to print the money to cover them, and it's going to be high inflation coming. Okay, this is all part of the puzzle. Okay, all part of the puzzle. But not only that, in this article, this is out of SG Forums. It's saying the cost of 100 will have a mountain of ordinary savings held in Japan financial institutions, much of it invested overseas. For anything that is insured, possibly 10, 15 billion, Japanese sells overseas assets, but they also bought insurance policies and sold insurance policies to investors. So the whole world is going to be, has a stake in this. And a lot of these insurance companies, remember after Katrina, when the insurance companies were going broke, where they're saying the same thing's going to happen here again. It's going to sell off bonds, and wouldn't like the but this is a good article. It talks about the insurance, how they've spread out the risk with lots of overseas investment firms, and everybody's going to have to pitch in to pay this off, and it's going to cost trillions. All right, that's enough for tonight. I hope this worked out. This is Duck out.